Welcome to the Video CPA. Today we're going to talk about who has to file a tax return, and we'll also talk about who may want to file a tax return even though it's not necessary for them to file. So let's get started. Talk about the factors involved, what the requirements are, and then some special situations. And again, these videos are fairly basic. They don't mention all the details, but they will introduce you to the concept of filing a tax return and stuff. And it's really kind of interesting. I mean, we've got our disclaimers here, but it's kind of interesting about who has to file a tax return, because you can make quite a bit of money these days without actually having to file a tax return. So some of the issues or the factors involved, you have to look at gross income, see how much the gross income is of a particular person or a couple. You have to look at the filing status, and you have to look at the age, because age, there are some benefits for older Americans, for retired Americans. They get a little bit bigger standard deduction, for example, and there's also some age requirements for young people as well. So age plays a part. So those are the main factors. I mean, you could talk about citizenship and stuff like that, but anybody that's making money in the United States, regardless of whether they're a citizen or not, is going to have to file a tax return. So the factors are gross income, filing status, and age. So let's just look at a table provided by the IRS. Now, if you're single and under 65 and make less than $12,550 per year, you don't have to file a tax return at all, okay? And if you're 65 or older, $14,250 per year. And if you're blind, it would be even a little bit more than that, okay? So these are the requirements. So somebody that's filing jointly and 65, both spouses are older 65, you can make up to $26,450 a year without having to file a tax return. And that, you may also have quite a bit of money in Social Security, and you wouldn't have to file it to match that, and you wouldn't have to file a tax return. So you can have quite a bit of income without having to file. So just be aware of that. Head of household is a little bit different, qualified widows. So you can see that the filing status here does make a difference in who has to file a tax return and who doesn't. Age also makes a difference, as we mentioned before, and certainly gross income is a part of it as well. Now, let's look at some special situations, okay? If you're self-employed and you make enough money that is described in those tables, okay, single, married, whatever the case is, you'll have to file a tax return, but you also may have to file for self-employment. And so as part of that tax return, you're going to have to pay self-employment tax, because self-employed people, if they make over $400 a year, have to pay self-employment tax, all right? Now, dependents and children under 19 may have to file a tax return. I've got another video out there on kiddie tax that talks about, young people that have got unearned income, for example, or even earned income, and when they have to file a tax return, or they may have to be included in their parents' tax return. In some cases that's optional. The parents can include them in their return, or the parents can or the children can file their own tax returns. All right. Non-resident aliens may have to file, well, they certainly are going to have to file a tax return if they are making money, for example, in the United States, if they've got income in the U.S. And but a lot of times a person won't have to file a tax return, but they may want to. For example, if you've got a refund coming and you don't owe any tax, you want to file a tax return to get that refund, okay? When the government was handing out stimulus checks for COVID, you may not have needed to file a tax return, but if you wanted those COVID stimulus checks, you had to file a tax return, okay? if, for example, you've got a child credit, and even though you don't owe any taxes, you want to file a tax return for some of these credits that they're out there. So there are quite a few different situations where somebody, even though they may not have to file a tax return, they're going to want to file a tax return to get some money back from the government. So quite a few special situations that you need to be aware of, and some of these, I mean, it's a good thing if you're going to get money back to file a tax return. All right, so going back then to the previous slide, you can see here that you can make quite a bit of money without having to file. And like I say, if you're older and you're getting Social Security, and that Social Security isn't taxed, for example, and you're still under this, Social Security isn't taxed until you get up into the $30,000 range for a married filing jointly anyway. So you can almost make $50,000 a year if it's part of its Social Security without having to file a tax return. So that would include your Social Security. Okay, so anyway, just be aware that there are exceptions, and thank you for watching. We'll be back. I'll be back again in the future with another tax-related video, or it could be an accounting-related video, but mostly it's tax-related. So if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And thank you very much.